Our question today comes from Dennis in Illinois. Dennis has a 1987 560 SL, and he's done a lot of work on this car himself, which is great. It's something that I think everybody should be doing when they get into a classic Mercedes project. Dennis's specific question was that his SRS light is on all the time. What is SRS? It stands for Supplemental Restraint System, and it refers to your airbag. While this annoying red light can cause some grievances because nobody likes their lights to be on in their car, it's also indicative that your airbag isn't working. And if you're driving a car with an airbag, it's nice to have it working in case some idiot hits you. Now, what to do about an SRS light that stays on all the time? The first thing that I tell people is to remove the steering wheel and do an inspection of what's called the SRS Contact Ring. This SRS Contact Ring lives at the base of the steering wheel and is attached to the steering column. There are 4 brushes, 2 for the horn and 2 for the SRS system, that contact this ring. Now, if you clean the ring off, it may not always restore contact. So the best thing to do is to grab your ohm meter, which will tell you the resistance or the continuity through the wiring, and to isolate the plug connector under the dash for the SRS supply to the airbag, and then to go back up to the steering wheel and isolate the SRS connector there. What you want to do is perform a one end to the other resistance test using your ohm meter to make sure that the ring is good. If you have good resistance, 0.4, 0.5 ohm, from the wires at the plug to the wires at the base of the steering column, you have a good contact ring. You should repeat this test by turning the wheel back and forth. Now, if this doesn't clear it up, there's some other things that could be wrong. A low voltage situation will also trigger an SRS light, so make sure your alternator's putting out the right voltage and your battery is healthy. Another thing too on 126 series cars that have passenger side airbags is that the passenger side airbag connectors, there are 2 of them, could be unplugged or not plugged in properly. That's always a good thing to check. When people start to experience SRS problems above and beyond this, these things can get a little bit out of hand. In '88, Mercedes went to a thing called a pulse count system, and if you have a 107 series car, the pulse count plug will be on the front left fender by the shock tower, and if you have any other model of Mercedes, it'll be by the battery. You can Google the word pulse counter and see how one of these is made, and use the diagnostic impulses from the pulse counter to diagnose the SRS system or any other system on the car that might be issuing a warning light. However, past that, on 1987 and earlier cars where there is no pulse count grid, you have to have a special tester from Mercedes. This special tester is pretty hard to come by. However, in further videos we can discuss more about the SRS system if I get some questions from you guys. Anyway, keep your Mercedes Benz safe. Make sure that you send us your questions about these bizarre electrical issues that nobody seems to be able to answer, and I will do my best to provide an answer for them. And